Hey, this is a response video to you. Basically, in the last video, you were just mentioning that you're just kind of continuing the conversation that we were talking about before about, you know, the death of the ego is really what meditation kind of brings, and that's like totally true. I mean, this reminds me of transpersonal development, I think it's called. Yeah. Or going outside the ego, transpersonal, beyond the individual, which is arguably to some philosophers and thinkers a development above individualism. We've had individualism, mainly in the Western culture, but it's all over the world now. It's all about the self and the self's development and our personal happiness, and I feel like those are all good philosophies, but taken to an extreme, we have hedonism and a lot of things that we see today in our culture that are like overabundance of sensual pleasures and selfishness, materialism. But yeah, so I think Krishnamurti said that to die is to truly live, and I mean, this is exactly what we're talking about. Death is a way to transcend the ego. We're facing our own demise, our own real end. So this kind of death can actualize the self. It can bring the self into a new level of acceptance of death and all that. And yeah, so meditation really is just being able to face that specific fear of death and ultimate end impermanence of the self. But more so, Ken Wilber mentions this stuff too, with his book, especially No Boundary, which talks all about this sort of thing. If we see the world as subject and object, if we see all of these boundaries that we set up are based off of that one illusory principle that there is a subject and there is an object, and we're separated somehow. If we're somehow separated, then we have to protect the subject, the us, and this leads to many different insecurities and pathologies as we develop on many different levels. But if we can sort of dissolve this illusory self and otherness, if we see the other and the self as one, then that is another way of transcending the self, of transpersonalism, the death of the ego, going beyond the self. So yeah, great video, and I just wanted to add that little dimension, and yeah, thanks for replying.